Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Gorilla Economist, and I have with us a returning phenom, the one and only holistic gangster himself, Chris Bholin from the Protocol. Folks, it is a new year. It is a new decade, and you
Hello?
need to change. And hey, you're back. I think you got cut off for a second. Could you hear me, Chris?
I can't hear you.
No, we can hear you though. That's weird. Wait, you just muted yourself. Can you hear me, Chris? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me? I just texted you.
V, it's great to be on your show again.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this platform and this opportunity. Hello, V.
Yes. Could you hear
My
me?
name is Chris Bholin, and I'm here to talk about the protocol. The protocol is a lifestyle brand. It's a lifetime brand. It is a workout with a whole new approach to how you listen to your body and how your body has innate wisdom and can teach you how to live a life free of breakdown so that you can thrive and that you can be efficient and you can live a life of structural integrity, which is a lost science and a lost art. I would like to say that I've discovered with a lot of my clients that people are dealing with back pain and shoulder pain, you name it, neck pain, knee pain. And the reason why people are developing these issues is because of the modern world, the modern lifestyle, the modern environment, and everything that we do from A to B. Whether you're a construction worker, whether you're an athlete, whether you go to the gym and train, or you sit behind a computer. The problem is the modern lifestyle, the modern environment, and the modern mindset. And literally from the ages of childhood up until whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, we develop chronic imbalances in the form of tightness accompanied by looseness. And a third part to the tightness and the looseness is malalignment, meaning that as we subsist in the modern setting, in the modern landscape, we move in a way that compromises our mechanics. So what happens is over many, many years of these compromised mechanics, issues, imbalances, problems start to arise on a more chronic level where people are in pain, discomfort, or maybe they're just fatigued or tight or stiff. And so when we truly look at the mechanics of the body, and the exact nature of this imbalance, it gives us plenty of insight as to correct it. And that's what the protocol is. The protocol is a brand, it's a lifestyle brand of health, of physical health. Now, generally, we're more accustomed to understanding the issue of mental health, which is a completely different arena, which I don't feel comfortable uh, giving my opinion on just yet. The other arena would be nutrition, which I also do not feel comfortable giving my opinion on. But in the physical health, see, what we do is we eat, we think, and we move. And I'm not here to talk about the thinking and the eating. I'm here to talk about the moving. And as I expose the problems in the modern world when it comes to moving and and the problems that arise from moving in the modern world, I point to absolute truths, universal truths that are not opinion at all, but a mathematical fact about how our bodies are thrown off in one way or another. And that's exactly what has happened over many, many years. Our body has been thrown off. And I truly believe that in 2020, that this is going to be the decade where the pendulum is starting to swing in the right direction. And the protocol, myself, Chris Bholin, is going to help lead the way in this movement of higher consciousness that is driven by the innate wisdom of our body. And the innate wisdom of our body is just a very simple, basic mathematical approach to reintegrating and realigning our body so that we become more whole. And the tightness is less tight. The areas that are unstable are less unstable. And the areas that are out of alignment are less than out of alignment. And so, again, it's very important to understand that the exact nature of all physical problems come from this imbalance. And again, this imbalance is from a very young age. We start to put on shoes and we start to engage in activities that are less than natural. And these activities shove our bodies into compromised states. And when our body is compromised, we develop tightness. And when we develop tightness, we also develop an equal amount of looseness. Another way of referring to the looseness is to describe it as laxicity. Ligamentous tissue can develop laxicity or slack, which is really a joint that is unstable. And that joint has a loosey goosey, hypermobile, false sense of security. And a lot of times it's misconstrued for flexibility. Talk about really misunderstanding the nature of the body. So our body gets tight, our body gets equally loose. And the third part that accompanies all of this is malalignment. So understand this. We move in a way that has, we move in a way that is actually the least resisted pathway because our bodies are no longer engaged in properly moving with integrity. We start to sway one direction or another. Now, if you're standing or sitting and you're in the force of the body weight is not equally distributed, what ends up happening is that's how we're thrown out of alignment and that's how imbalances are developed. And over time, it could be 10 years or 20 years or even 30 years, we develop imbalances and chronic disorders, degenerative disorders, which lead to one diagnosis or one syndrome over another. And so the protocol is here to teach people that there is a new source of inspiration. And that source of inspiration comes from listening to your body. And your body has an innate wisdom, which is really just a very basic sense and feel or a touch of, of what's going on with you physically so that you can start to move in a direction that suits you personally. So if you have collected tension over a period of time in the wrong areas, the protocol will teach you how to listen to your body and detect that tension so that you can unearth it, redistribute it, and make the body more whole. And so that that tension can start to produce force more effectively. So what happens is the dormant and the stagnant energy that we look at as tightness becomes a, a freeloader, becomes a form of energy that's no longer serving any positive function. Muscles that perform a positive function, they, number one, they produce force, and that production of force helps carry you around through life. Number two, they metabolize fat. Number three, they detox impurities. So when these muscles become tight, not only are they displacing an area of stability that becomes loose, but they're no longer producing force, detoxing impurities, and metabolizing fat. So imagine that. All of these muscles that are lying stagnant and dormant are robbing you of the production of force, which means to carry you around with integrity. They're no longer burning fat. They're now a freeloader, dead weight, and they are metabolically serving no function. And then the third part is that they're hoarding toxins like a sponge. They're no longer detoxing impurities. They're no longer serving as a permeable filtration system that can allow many circulatory functions to cleanse the body. And so the alignment is thrown off. And then over time, we collect and we hoard and we store all of this tension in these collapsed pockets, and these areas over a long period of time start to create many dysfunctions. So the protocol is here to teach a universal solution to a universal problem. The universal problem is something that we have all inherited collectively, which is the modern world. And many issues physically are symptoms of a greater whole. They're symptoms of tightness, they're symptoms of slack, they're symptoms of this malalignment that we inherited from the modern world. And we started to develop and collect these imbalances from a very young age. And anybody who's walking around with imbalances that are not at the surface are just tolerating and compensating for these imbalances in a suppressed fashion. Other people are symptomatic. So the people who are asymptomatic are people who are walking around with underlying susceptibilities that make them like a ticking time bomb. Whereas they're very limited, they don't have a lot of room for error. And what happens is they cannot throw a lot of caution to the wind. And the body suppresses these problems until maybe later in life they come to roost and they start to have an impact, a negative impact on your health. And we all suffer the same fate in one way or another. Some people sidestep a lot of landmines and they can live a relatively long life, but it lacks quality. And the quality is what really lends itself to quantity. So people live a subpar life at best. And it's an anomaly for people to sidestep all of these landmines physically because there are no guarantees in life. But it's important to take control of what's available to us and to be made aware what's available to us. And that's what the protocol does, is it makes you aware of your physical surroundings, inside and outside of the body, so that you can take control of your fate physically to the best of your ability. And then take more comfort in the fact that you're doing all that you can and that your physical health is up front and center. You have control of it. And the protocol is a whole new paradigm shift. It's a whole new habit. It's a whole new routine and lifestyle and mindset that you can have on a daily basis to take back control of your physical health. Just like we're exposing the problems with mental health, and just like the jury is out on what the best way to eat is, The protocol is going to point at universal truths so that we can say, hey, listening to your body is a science. Listening to your body is an art form. And the protocol is going to provide the guiding principles and the blueprint so that people can tap in to this natural capacity to heal themselves. And so what happens is, just as an example, many people develop herniated discs. So if a million people all have herniated discs bulging in their, let's say, L4 or L5, there might be a million people with herniated discs bulging in their L4 or L5, and that's a diagnosis that groups them together as having the same problem. But the problem with that is that each person is different based on personal nuances. So we all break down in the form of tightness, slack, and malformation. We all fall into different categories, whether it's herniated discs or arthritis or impingements or whatever the case may be. But the problem is that we are all different. So we all are human, and we all share a lot of human qualities biomechanically. Like, your elbow is really not much different than my elbow, but yet our elbows are infinitely different when it comes to the personal nuances of how that elbow is made up mechanically, based on how I've lived my life versus how you've lived your life. And there are just so many nuances that separate us that would require a universal understanding, which is what the protocol is, but a personal experience of listening to our bodies individually and being able to balance the imbalances, which again are in the form of tightness, looseness, and malalignment. And, listen, there are many people out there, in theory, spewing a lot of industry jargon. And that industry jargon is thrown around very loosely. And there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of scientific rationale, and there's a lot of wishful thinking. But the protocol takes a realistic viewpoint, a truthful viewpoint as to how to detect the exact nature of these imbalances and what we can do to reverse the problems so that your body can be more harmonious and you can walk around digesting and processing yourself physically and your surroundings in a much more efficient way so that you can enjoy your life and live your life without any hiccups whatsoever, or at least on a relative basis, because we've got to set the ball rolling. I've been doing the protocol for many years, and I train people every single day with herniated discs. And what I tell people is that we have a program to reverse this destruction and to treat these negative forces that have a major impact on our health. These destructive forces and these negative forces, they accumulate over time. They compile, they compress, they compromise, and they collapse our bodies. And we need a system that people can adhere to, a lifestyle, a mindset, a program, a routine that slowly reverses the negative effects of the modern world, the modern mindset, and the modern training. So, what I do is I gently guide people so that they can arrest the pain and discomfort. Because what's happening is that people are symptomatic. Some people are asymptomatic, but a lot of people are not that lucky and they're forced to get surgery. It's an epidemic, V, that I know a lot of 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds that are getting their hips replaced, getting neck surgery. So what I do is I guide them through a 90-day program. So it prevents them from having to resort to surgery as a means of fixing their body, which is no means of fixing anything, because they're still going to be left at the end of the day dealing with the stress of the modern world, which we all are. And the protocol is giving us an opportunity to take back control of our physical health, because your physical health is directly correlated to your ability to live a long life of quality and sustainability, and something that you can add to so that you get stronger and stronger intrinsically over time, which means a deep purposeful health of value, so that you can run around the world, travel, live, enjoy your grandkids, wipe your ass when you're 100 years old, pour coffee, snorkel in Mexico when you're 85 or 90, or whatever the case may be. So what I do is I teach you how to listen to your body. I ask you how you feel. And based on this addition by subtraction, we chip away at the inessentials, and we remove what is blocking you off from yourself. So if you're in pain, please reach out to me. If you have any discomfort, my name is Chris Bholin. I am here teaching something that I call the protocol, that I have been living for 20 years of my life, and I've been able to help people and reverse their problems. I do FaceTime sessions. I train people all around the world. You can call me at 646 204 7979. You can reach me at my email is period protocol protocol period CB, like Chris Bholin. Protocol period CB at gmail.com. And my Instagram handle is at protocol fitness. At protocol fitness. If you want to see what the protocol looks like, go to Instagram. And last but not least, my website. My website is the dash protocol. Forgive me. Let me back up. My website is protocol fitness.com. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. We can stand here and scream from the mountaintops, if given the opportunity, to give you your life back, free of pain and free of discomfort. You deserve that. And we can simply guide you over a short period of time and an extended period of time to show you that you do not have to live with pain. You do not have to live with discomfort. And we can prevent injury. We can prevent surgery. This is an alternative for people who believe that there is another way, because there are a lot of people out there that are trying to help people, but there's very little merit, and it's very limited at best. The protocol, we have an extensive, systematic approach that can set you on your way so that you can set something in motion that creates a life all to itself, becomes second nature, and you can start to detect these imbalances, redirect them, and go on about your business and enjoying your life without being defined by breakdown. And what you have to understand is that recovery is a gradual and subtle process. If you truly want to understand the archetype of nature, the archetype of life, it is the exact opposite of instant gratification. So instead of being addicted to more is better, come learn the way of the protocol and allow me to help you help yourself understand your body so that you can take back control of your life and live a life absent of breakdown. So this is Chris Bholin here with the Protocol V. Thank you again so much. Much love and God bless.
Thank you, Chris, for joining us. I know the audio has been pretty weird, but folks, again, here's the deal. what the work that Chris has done is really remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And it's different. It's not like this bro science. It's getting you to move. Movement is the most important thing. Posture is the most important thing, and getting all those alignments is important because every movement, whether static or dynamic, begins and ends in posture. And if something's off, there's an imbalance somewhere, then you're going to screw yourself up. I remember that, like, I had a buddy of mine. His name was, and let me just text him. Chris is just texting me right now to make sure that it was everything was okay. I was like, yep, he was awesome. Anyway, I had a buddy of mine, former Mr. Universe. Okay, and he was in his, I'd say, early 50s. All right. Again, this is a guy who's pumped himself up, was on the bodybuilding circuit for a very long breadth of time. And what happened was that this is somebody who on the physically looked impressive, physically looked like somebody who really had his act together. But I remember him where he was out from the gym for weeks on end. I'm like, Mark, what happened, bro? Oh, V, what happened was I was reaching into the cab to get my suit, my briefcase, and I blew my back out. And you hear this all the time. Why? Because even though physically he looks impressive, but he had imbalances. And we see this with not just people who are the lay people who sit on a desk all day, or they're not really taking care of themselves and their health and whatnot, but you also see this with athletes. And folks, it's important. It's 2020. It's a new year. It's a new decade. Take advantage. Just look, you got nothing to lose. Reach out. And here's the thing. Full disclosure, we're not getting any kickbacks here from Chris. I believe in the work that he's doing. And in full disclosure, we do it because we want to promote the work of the individual, not because there's any sort of financial gains. And you see that off the bat with everyone that we bring on here on Rogue News. The only time we let hey, these are paid sponsors would be like My CBD Edibles or some other company, and then it's a paid sponsor. We'll let you know. But with Chris, guys, you got nothing to lose. Reach out to him. He's an absolute brain when it comes to this stuff. Reach out to him, ask him a few questions, run a couple things by him, and see what he says. I guarantee you guys will be impressed. Definitely. And with that being said, folks, thank you all for listening in. Listen, CJ and I will be here. We'll be back at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to start rocking and rolling, so please stay tuned for that. This is V, and I'm over, and I'm out.